Bye-bye injections. Eli Lilly's new oral GLP-1 is showing stunning GLP-1 weight loss in a new study. I am so super excited to talk about this today. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I have lost over 108 pounds the last 2.5 years of being on GLP-1 medication through Zepbound, Mounjaro, and Tirzepatide compound. And on today's episode, coming live from the beach, I want to share a little bit more about Orforglipron. And I'm going to cite my sources down below, so you can always, as always, I demand and require that I am factually accurate. In a day and age of where things are not factually accurate, this channel does. So I will cite my sources so you can cross-reference and double check. And if you have more questions too, we can have a further dialogue about this. I'm super excited about this data. I literally have been jumping at the bit for this oral pill information because I personally, when Orforglipron comes out, I would like to be one of the first people taking it because of the data that it's had. So basically, Orforglipron, if you're not familiar, is a once daily oral GLP-1 medication, and it's being studied by it's the creator, Eli Lilly, being studied for the treatment of type 2 diabetes and obesity. With that, it belongs in a class of medications called GLP-1 receptors, and it's designed to help lower blood sugar and support weight loss. It comes in a pill format. And this is where it's super duper exciting that it is not an injection. It's not an injection that needs to be refrigerated. And so it's going to eliminate this huge supply chain issue that we've seen with refrigeration and with needles and injections that come with the Mounjaro pens, Zepbound pens, Ozempic pens, and Wegovy pens, and then for our compound folks who are also, or if you're on using the needle format too out of the vials with Eli Lilly as well, or with compounds. So basically, it's coming in the pill format. You take it. This is where it gets really cool, though. This is why I'm so jazzed about this, is that it's taken once daily, any time of day, without food or water restrictions, right? So you don't need to make sure that you have like a big meal with it or things like that. That is where this is exciting because, side note on this too, some areas of the world having refrigerated pens or vials that demand and require to be refrigerated is very, very, very challenging. By having this daily oral pill with the high level of results, which I'm going to talk about, I am so pumped. I'm so jazzed. So Orforglipron Achieve-1 results were announced for type 2 diabetes in April of 2025. The results were presented by the American Diabetes Association annual meeting and published in the New England Journal of Medicine in June 2025. Literally, if I wasn't at the beach, I was trying to figure out how to go to this. So if Eli Lilly's watching, or Novo Nordisk for Wegovy and Ozempic for their upcoming drugs, I want to go and report on these things. Someone please invite me. I get invited to really cool places. I would like to be invited there. Next week, by the way, sidebar, I'll be on HSN. We'll talk about that at the end of the show, so stay tuned till that. I'll go into more detail on that. Is Orforglipron approved yet by the FDA? No, it's not. So Eli Lilly plans to submit Orforglipron, the pill, the GLP-1 pill, for regulatory review for weight management later this year in 2025. This is why it's so exciting, is that it's coming for weight management in 2025, for our type 2 diabetes brothers and sisters, 2026 to get submitted for the FDA. The company is developing Orforglipron is discovered by, forgive me for butchering this name, it's CHUGAI Pharmaceutical Co., Ltd., and it's licensed to Eli Lilly in 2018. Eli Lilly holds worldwide development and commercialization rights for Orforglipron. So if you see, by the way, people selling Orforglipron, that is shady boots. That is shady boots. Do not buy that. Same with things like retatrutide. Retatrutide is being clinically tested right now through Eli Lilly. It makes me literally mental when people are like, I'm taking retatrutide. I'm like, are you in the clinical trial? Because no, you're not. No, you ain't. Would be considered gray market GLP-1 medication. Eli Lilly has the rights to these. And let me stay on task with Orforglipron and not get off on the retatrutide train. So Orforglipron, the price has not been announced yet. Eli Lilly has stated the pricing will reflect medicine's values and aims to ensure accessible to those who need it. Orforglipron is still in development. It's not yet available to the public. So if you're seeing people selling it, that's where it's shady boots. And it's being studied in clinical trials. If approved, more information about availability will be released by Eli Lilly and through your healthcare provider. So here's the deal with Orforglipron. It successfully completed the first phase 3 trial, which was Achieve-1 in 2025. The ongoing trials are Achieve 2 through 5, focused in on our type 2 diabetes brothers and sisters, and Attain 1 and Attain 2, which is focused in on obesity and overweight brothers and sisters. Excuse me, with the results they're coming in late 2025 and early 2026. Orforglipron is being studied in the Attain clinical trial in a weight loss medication for people who have obesity and overweight. Okay, so this is the cool part about it. This is the cool part. Let me go over to the cool part about it. So it aligns, so going into the financial part about this, we're gonna talk a little bit about stocks in there. For my stocks brothers and sisters, I wanna hit that up too, of how this is gonna help if you are an Eli Lilly shareholder. It aligns to a 7% share price increase over the last month. This is per simply wall.st, street.st. And that will be linked down below. Broader market showing a flat trajectory with the company's development on there, and ongoing lawsuit and acquisition rumors were less likely to significantly influence the share price earlier this month. So this phase 3 Orforglipron could have significant implications for the company's growth narrative. These developments, along expansion of the product offerings in oncology and immunology, bolster their potential revenue acceleration. So that's exciting if you're a shareholder. And then the other part of this too, which is really, really cool, doing a deep dive. The Count and I have been raise your hand if you're on vacation and you nerd out over upcoming GLP-1 medications with your hot husband while you're at the beach trying to relax on your vacation, but you're instead talking about clinical trials. What's that? Put a finger down. I'm putting my finger down. You heard that on TikTok. Put a finger down. Okay, so with the Achieve 1, Orforglipron led to an average weight loss of 16 pounds, which was 7.9% at the highest dose by week 40 in a key secondary endpoint. The safety profile for Orforglipron was consistent with the established GLP-1 class. What my little eyeballs pulled out of this that I was fascinated with was, you guys know I always go back to my teeter-totter saw, how we balance weight loss results with side effects. Is someone having blowout diarrhea? We know there's 4 of the most common gastrointestinal diarrhea, constipation, nausea, vomiting with GLP-1 medication. If someone's having blowout diarrhea, that makes for some problems. And so, and people staying on these medications, we found that with side effects. When people have gnarly side effects like blowout diarrhea, they're not likely to stay on these medications. Hey, friends, if you came from medical advice, I'm not medical at all. I'm simply a gal who's changed her life completely through GLP-1 medication and trying to add humor into something. So people get so offended when I say diarrhea, we gotta keep it lighthearted. In today's day and age of where things are so, we just gotta laugh a little. So with this, what I found, which was fascinating with this, at the 40-week mark, there were 3 doses. It's 3 milligrams, 12 milligrams, 36 milligrams of Orforglipron to achieve Orforglipron. I had some Botox done on my face, and my enunciation, I realized with my lips, I'm they get a little puckery. There showed clinically meaningful and statistically significant reductions in body weight versus the placebo. The most reported adverse side effects were gastrointestinal related, and these were presented at the American Diabetes, the ADA, 85th Scientific Sessions in 2025, which I really wanted to go to. Even though I'm not medical at all, I'm I really want to go to the American Diabetes Association. I don't think I would have been invited. If someone knows how you get invited to these things, tell me down below, because I really want to go to some of these where they're presenting this information. I want to be there with my blazer, a hot pink blazer, first row with my pen raised, asking questions. She has questions. So lowering A1C went from 1.3% to 1.6% from a baseline of 8% for the efficacy estimate. This was at the 40-week mark. The secondary endpoints, up to 76.2% of participants taking Orforglipron achieved an ADA treatment target A1C of this, what is that? Less than? It's chomping. That's greater than. Here's the number, and it's like this. I'm trying to remember my my crocodile bites. It's greater than 7%. 66% achieved an A1C of greater. Is that greater than or less than? Greater than 6.5%. So it's going through basically what's happening here, and what I really want to talk about is the side effect component of it. Let me go to that slide of this. It's basically the slide. This is where it was. The most common adverse were diarrhea. And for the lowest dose, which was 3 milligrams, it was 19%. 12 milligrams, 21%. 36 milligrams, 26% of people versus 9% with the placebo. So if you're on the highest dose, basically 1 in 4 people have diarrhea. A little diarrhea hurt no one. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. But then they talk about nausea. That's the next one. And then constipation and then vomiting. So vomiting on the highest dose, it was 14%. So it was for 5% for the 3 milligrams, 7% for the 12 milligrams, and then the 36 milligrams was 14% versus the placebo just had 1%. So out of all of my gastrointestinal ones, I'm like, she does not really like the vomiting component. I'll take blowout diarrhea, I'll take constipation, use Bioptimizer's Magnesium Breakthrough for constipation. I'll link it down below on my Amazon link. Make sure you're using the right Amazon link though. So the next part of this that I found also fascinating was from the New England Journal of Medicine. And it's talking about, going back to the side effects, this was published in June 21st, 2025, was permanent discontinuation, because that's always a thing on GLP-1 medication. How many people stop the medication, right? For me, I'm on GLP-1 medication. I have been for 2.5 years. God willing, I'll be on GLP-1 medication the rest of my life with the information I have right now. I do not anticipate getting off of GLP-1 medication because my blood panels are exceptional, and the weight loss component for obesity management has been life-changing. Truly, to be at the beach right now and to be able to, I literally went surfing earlier today. Like, who is this woman? My life has been changed because of GLP-1 medication. The permanent discontinuation of Orforglipron or the placebo due to adverse events occurred between 4.4% through 7.8 participants receiving Orforglipron and 1.4% of participants receiving the placebo. So I found that fascinating about people stopping. And we know that that's substantially higher for like Zepbound and Wegovy, Tirzepatide and semaglutide, way, way, way higher. But I do think that part of that is financial problems with that too, of like insurance to stop covering. Some of it is people have really bad, not really bad, I don't want to be inflammatory on that, but people have side effects like diarrhea. I was making fun earlier, and hopefully I've had personally diarrhea because of the medication. So I feel like you can joke about it when you're part of the group. I've had blowout diarrhea where I've been on a date night with my hot husband and I almost pooped my pants. Like, it was that, like, running and sprint, not to be so graphic and gross here on the internet, but here we are now. The internet's permanent. So now here I've told my poop story of where I almost pooped myself. But what I'm trying to say is I can understand. I can understand. One was over there too, by the way, and she's just like, "What are you doing, lady?" She's like, "Mom, stop talking about poop on the internet. Stop talking about poop on the internet and just talk about the side effects." So going back over comparing Orforglipron versus Zepbound, Orforglipron versus Wegovy, I've got stats for you too. So through the Achieve-1, Orforglipron led to an average weight loss of 16 pounds at 7.9% at the highest dose by week 40, so 10 months in a key secondary endpoint. So this is talking about type 2 diabetes. So whenever we are comparing type 2 diabetes for people who do not have type 2 diabetes, maybe it's just for obesity management or overweight, for overweight folks, or obesity management or weight management, very clearly type 2 diabetics lose weight more slowly, typically. With your type 2 diabetic, it is not fair to compare apples to apples with Orforglipron, people taking with type 2 diabetes, versus people who do not have type 2 diabetes. It is not a fair comparison. And in fact, for GLP-1 medication, it is really not a fair comparison, which is why I always say comparison is the thief of joy. If you're comparing yourself to other people on social media, don't do that. Like, please, 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 from somebody who is on social media, do not do that, because it's not a fair comparison for my type 2 diabetes brothers and sisters versus people who don't have it. So for Orforglipron, the Achieve-1 had 7.9%, 16 pounds by the highest dose by week 40. And so this is the highest dose also, something to take stock in, as we've recently seen in some of my other news stories that I've reported on earlier this week, that being on that highest dose, it matters in terms of data of where you are and where you think you maybe need to be, where some people come into GLP-1 medication thinking, I'm gonna lose 25 pounds this month, of where it's simply just not the case. So having that, hold. So we have 7.9% or 16 pounds. If we go over to Zepbound, people who are on 36 weeks, so it's not quite the 40, hold on, the 10-month, oh, fiddlesticks. I had this all set up before I hit the record button. It was the 40 weeks. Okay, so but at the 40-week mark, which is 10 months, for people on Zepbound, it's saying for 36 weeks. So it's not quite 40 weeks. So for Tirzepatide, one study experienced a mean weight loss reduction of 20.9%. For those who continued to 88 weeks, lost an average of 25.3%. I just did a story, and go back into my playlist, make sure you click that like and subscribe, talking about how recently clinical trials versus real life, it's not the same, boo. It's not the same. It's not the same. So if you're like, I haven't lost that much weight. Okay, well, we're finding that clinical trials versus real life, you don't lose as much as the clinical trials. So keeping that in your hip pocket too. So we're comparing at 36 weeks, Orforglipron versus Zepbound. Zepbound was 20.9% weight loss. Orforglipron, because it's type 2 diabetics, whereas Zepbound is not type 2 diabetics, that would be Mounjaro. But for non-diabetic brothers and sisters, it's 20.9% versus Orforglipron, substantially less at that 7.9%. And then if we bring Wegovy or semaglutide into the mix, for people who take Wegovy are not type 2 diabetics, that's Ozempic. But people who are on, I'm trying to get, this is done in months. And so it was 17 months versus 10 months. So that's not the same amount. And they're not, and it is on the highest dose though, is 17%. So that's at 17 months, not the 10 months. If we go to month 5, it was 10% of the body weight for semaglutide. So we're not tracking as much weight loss. However, and I know that you guys, the people who are actually medical people, because I am not medical people, I will never pretend to be medical on the internet. I'm simply a gal who's lost a ton of weight through these medications. So I will leave the medical expertise for medical expertise people. So come in and correct me. But they're doing these other studies of for where we're going to be comparing, where it's a head-to-head of overweight or obesity management, of where we can compare the two of these. So if you're like, I want to be on the highest GLP-1, currently right now it's Zepbound 15 milligrams, which is what I've been on. Whatever the next highest thing is where I will be shifting to, pending, of course, my healthcare provider. Someone made a comment the other day, and I was like, of course, pending what my healthcare provider says. Like, that is my healthcare provider. Like, I will have a conversation with them, but my healthcare provider is like, obviously, I'm not like, I'm going to take what my healthcare provider says. There's a time to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, but like, in terms of their higher dose, anyways, that's a horse of a color for another day, a different conversation. But I find the whole thing fascinating, and the fact that you don't need a refrigerator for these daily pills. Now, daily pills. I'm not the best daily pill taker. I'm just not. And so that would be my one concern of taking these, of like, it's one of the reasons why I love having a weekly injection, is I really don't have to have that mental payload of, oh, did I take it? Oh, did I take it? Oh, did I take it? I only have to think once out of the whole week of, did I take my GLP-1 medication? This I'll have to think about 7 times if I were to take it. Pending I would get approved from my healthcare provider, etc. That would be 7 times of having to think about it in the week versus 1 with a once weekly injection. And so there's so many pros and cons, but this is where it's so cool. If we're going to be getting in the cadence and rhythm in 2026, 2027, of where truly the world is our oysters with GLP-1 medication. If you're having blowout diarrhea and things like that, that's where incoming things are going to be fascinating with these medications too, of balancing that. Because right now we don't have a crazy amount of choices for the different GLP-1 medications. And so this is opening up a world of so many different things. And with the pill, I suspect, but I don't know, because it doesn't have that refrigeration standpoint, the price point on that is fascinating to me. And also with our insurance coverage, hello, so many people are getting kicked off their insurance coverage with GLP-1 medications. It makes my heart break. In my free encouragement group, make sure you join that down below, countessofshopping.com/group. If you are not in the new group, you need to join it. It's not on Facebook. Facebook has eliminated, as of today, me filming this, eliminated GLP-1 groups on Facebook. If they had more than 1,000 people, and my group had like 19,200, completely eliminated them. And it's not, I don't think mine's coming back. I did nothing wrong, by the way. People are like, what did you do wrong? I'm like, nothing. Facebook said I was, quote selling drugs. I was not at all. It was encouragement, talking about protein shakes, workout plans, and things like that. And so anyways, I am off of Facebook because I'm going to take my bat and ball and go somewhere else. So the accountant and I, out of our own pockets, have paid over $1,000 for this free encouragement group. By the end of the year, we'll probably pay realistically about $5,000. So when I talk about things, by the way, of like, oh, here I've got an Amazon shirt, or oh, my favorite electrolytes, or my favorite daily vitamins, or my favorite magnesium, you don't have to buy any of that stuff. You don't have to buy any of that stuff if you don't want to. I only share things that I love because I am a woman of integrity. But if you choose to, it helps support free stuff, like a video every single day, like the free encouragement group, like the blog, things like that. So July 8th is the upcoming Prime Day. And so I will be having coverage here starting at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. My video will get released here. I have been planning for Prime Day for months, truly months. And months and months. It's going to be good. I am the Countess of Shopping after all. It's going to be good. And many of you have said that you have a shopping list that you're looking for. So put it down. If you have certain things on Prime Day you're looking for, tell me, because as I'm doing my deal searches, I will make sure in that video I include it. I had a friend who's they're moving and they needed a bunch of stuff for their new home. And I was like, great, they gave me a list. One of you other awesome viewers was asking about sunscreen deals. I was like, great, I'll get all of those on the list. Somebody, like a bunch of people have been telling me what they're looking for. Oh, someone was asking about fake nails. I was like, I'll put that on my list. Like that Prime Day on July 8th here, 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're West Coast, that's midnight. Those deals will be hotter than hot, and I will have them exclusively here for a lot of discount codes too. So hang 10, tune in for that. That was a complete squirrel moment. Squirrel! But here we are. I've been surfing literally earlier today. It was awesome. Taking my boy out surfing. I'm exhausted. I've been wearing dresses a bunch. I've got a dress on that I ended up getting from TJ Maxx. I've been wearing more, I haven't worn dresses and skirts, I think, since I was like 5 years old. So this has been very weird, wearing like sundresses and stuff. This is my third summer being on GLP-1 medication. So it's been very weird, but in a good way. And I I will be on HSN July 1st, and then later on in July. But July 1st, I'll be on 4 times. I just got my schedule for HSN. Not QVC. I'm not on QVC anymore. I've moved over to HSN. It's going to be awesome. I don't think I can release the times for those shows yet, but stay tuned. I'll make sure I share that with you. And I'll probably put it in one of my emails, my weekly encouragement emails that come out on, they've been supposed to come out on Mondays and Thursdays, by the way, but they've come off on, it's been a little like Tuesdays and Fridays. It's been a little bit wonky just because of my travel schedule, but HSN, I'll make sure you guys, if you want, so many of you said you want to tune in, or you can DVR it, like tape it or whatever. It's gonna be good. I'm excited. And my segments are only 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. So if you sneeze, if you have that blowout diarrhea from Zepbound, you know what I mean? I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. You may miss me. That was a very crass joke, Countess Shopping. That was so crass. I know. Sometimes we just have to be a little crass. Okay, my sweet friends, this video is gonna take 10 million years to upload, so I need to stop yapping because I'm never gonna get it uploaded. The uploading speed at the Outer Banks is so slow, and I get it. It's beautiful here in paradise. Why do you need the internet when you're in paradise? But I'm really, really grateful for GLP-1 medication. And I joke, I kid Zepbound about the Zepbound diarrhea. I kid, but it's true for some people. What was that? Who's that comedian who's like, it's funny because it's true? Anyways, I don't know why I'm on the diarrhea train, but we're gonna get off that train right now. Our daily question, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? Today, I'm gonna have seafood. Like, I haven't eaten very much. I just took my shot on vacation, Avi. I took my shot yesterday, so I'm at peak appetite suppression. So I've not been tracking my calories at all. I've been focusing on eating fruits, vegetables, and high protein, and that's been awesome. And our emoji of the day is going to be a fire, and I do emojis of the day to tell me that you've made it this far. It's like our bat signal, that you've made it this far in the video, and I wanna get to know you better because I care. And also, it's my bat signal to pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I'll uplift you in positive thought because all are welcome at the Countess of Shopping table, unless you're mean, and then you're not welcome at all. You can take that meanness right on out. If you have BO, you're welcome. I was like working at, like, it's really hot, really, really hot, which is also why I wanted to do the fire emoji. Are you in an area with this heat wave? It's been bonkers in terms of the heat. And if you've seen me out and about in the Outer Banks, please say hi. Tell my family to, like, come say hi. Don't be embarrassed. Come say, I love it when people come say hi. So, because several of you have, like, DM'd me and you're like, oh, I saw on Instagram, you're like, I saw you when I was at X, Y, and Z. I'm like, you should have come say hi. Come tell me hello. I would love to meet you and say hey. My beautiful friends. So emoji of the day, fire. If you are on your TV watching, some people are like, why do you do emojis of the day? If you're on like a TV, it doesn't really make sense, but a lot of you will watch on your phones. But if you're on a TV, you can just type out fire. You can just type it out, F-I-R-E. Yeah. Okay, sweet friends, I'm gonna go hang out with the fam bam now. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping, count my blessings, because life sure is delicious. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.